Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackmon.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackmon, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackmon for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to a Super Bowl edition of Bucher and Blackmon, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. I'm Rick Bucher. He is NFL vet and Super Bowl champ Will Blackmon. You can catch him on NFL Network or on Twitter at Will Blackmon. You can read my stuff on Bleacher Report and at Rick Bucher on Twitter. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. All right, so I saw you.
Let's
Will.
go!
I saw you briefly FaceTime. I didn't actually see you on TV. I saw you on my phone when you FaceTimed me, and you were dressed to the nines, sharp suit, tie, the whole deal. And now I'm looking at you, and you are wearing the fly leather jacket.
Oh, you like this leather coat? Yeah,
Man.
You know.
That is, but it's, dude, I mean, like, what was it? 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, you were dressed in a completely different outfit.
Literally 30 minutes ago, I was in a suit.
Exactly.
Suited and booted 30 minutes ago.
So where are you right now?
I'm in Culver City. I'm in Century City, to be exact.
What? And the drive to Orange County was just, you didn't want to run into any drunk Patriots fans, or?
No,
are you working
actually,
early in the morning?
Tonight would have been a great ride home because it was nice and peaceful on the road.
Yeah.
No, I'm headed back in the studio tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So,
Got it. All right. Well, you're looking sharp. You looked sharp. I can't say as much for the game, and I don't know how you feel about this.
no, listen, I just talked to Shauna about this. I just talked to my wife about this. Go ahead. Let me hear your part.
Well, first of all, what was more underwhelming, the halftime show or the game?
Well, I did not get to see the halftime show, and according to a lot of my friends and Twitter, that's a good thing.
I would say so.
In regards to the game, I get it from a general consumer's perspective that, right, it was relatively a boring game. Because what you got from the Rams all season long was a lot of points and excitement. Same thing. You actually got that from a lot of Patriot games. But for those really like true football guys who love tactics,
yeah, like
this was a good strategic defensive game. And it reminds me of when I made this comparison talking to my wife that, you know, say you watch like a UFC MMA event, a match, and there's a lot of jiu-jitsu, which is a lot of grappling on the ground and just a lot of action on the ground. UFC fans don't want to see that. They want to see someone get knocked out, someone get punched, big hits. But real followers, real fans respect a true scrap on the ground. Same thing with soccer. You could see an incredible soccer match and it'd be 0-0.
Absolutely. Or you can see a great baseball game, and it may be a 1-0 game, or it's a pitcher's duel.
It'd be unbelievable pitching. Exactly.
Look, it's the same when Spurs and the Pistons squared off. It was probably the lowest rated finals ever. I enjoyed the hell out of it because it was that too. It was defensive oriented, but it was waiting for somebody to make a mistake. And when Rasheed Wallace doubled off of Robert Horry and he hit the three, that was a pivotal move and probably decided the entire series. And it was that push and pull and just waiting for somebody to make that little mistake that was going to make all the difference. And I enjoy that. And I enjoy that in a variety of sports. That's why I asked you, because I throw an annual Super Bowl party at my house. And I do it more to get all my friends. It's an excuse. It's an excuse to get all my friends together, to eat, to get all our kids together, and just to enjoy a social event that everybody can look forward to when you're in this middle ground past the holidays. And so it's a lot of casual football fans And I can gauge like the level of engagement in the game is by the entertainment of the game. Last year, everybody stayed to the end. This year, people were leaving in the third quarter. It was like they had eaten. Their kids had been running around. It was like they were done. The game was not holding any suspense for them, and I understood that. And I actually got to kind of watch the end on my own. But I think this is the problem. We just expected something far different. I don't know that anybody came into this game thinking. You said I think maybe 2017.
Maybe 2017. And you know what? I was picking with my heart.
Yeah.
My heart was the Rams just because I was being biased. I was showing loyalty to a friend. But my mind picked New England because of logic and strategy.
Which proved to be the difference.
It was, yeah. And it's funny because we talk about the innovative offense, the brilliant mind of Sean McVay, the young coaches, Mahomes won MVP because he threw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. And we had the luxury of the Rams Chiefs game here in LA. We had all those things. However, in this game, we probably had two of the greatest defensive minds in football with Wade Phillips. And, with the partnership of Belichick and Brian Flores, that's really what it came down to. Yeah, McVay is new, but you have a guy in Belichick who's seen everything. Same thing, Wade Phillips. I mean, for them to only give up 13 points, 3 points most of the game,
right?
That's incredible.
Agreed.
For Wade Phillips, they did everything they could in that regard. So this was truly a defensive chess match. And that's, obviously that's not sexy to the consumer, but I definitely enjoyed the chess match. However, there were some things that were interesting, in the first quarter with the Patriots. I know Tom is all about timing, was trying to get the ball out quick, and he missed a couple of throws, missed a couple of guys that were wide open in terms of he didn't get to them, and tried a couple of things, which led to an early interception. And then with the Rams, which was interesting, they stayed in a condensed formation for a long time, and they kept trying to run their play actions. But however, if you can't run the ball, if you can't run your stretch with Gurley, and you're not getting any productivity out of C.J. Anderson, then the play action does you no good.
Right.
So their thing is, we're going to eliminate the play action, take away the big throws, and make you drive the football down the field. Right. You can't drive the football down the field, one, if you're not getting any first downs, two, if you can't run the ball.
So the friend that you referenced was Sean McVay, I assume. Sean McVay, he and I'm close with him, close with Aubrey Pleasant, and I was with Joe Barry on the Redskins. So this is what Sean McVay was brutally honest or frank about where he thought the game was lost. Here's Sean McVay talking about his part in the loss.
Congratulations to the Patriots. They did a great job. Coach Belichick did an outstanding job. There's really no other way to put it. I'm pretty numb right now, but, definitely I got outcoached, and I didn't do nearly good enough for a football team.
100%.
Now, I know where you stand as a friend of his. How does that play in the locker room? Because I can appreciate
in terms of what he said.
Yes, I mean, because and the impact of that. If it's true, I can appreciate a coach taking that responsibility. At the same time, as a player, I'm thinking, damn, you're like, I lose a little bit of confidence in you. I appreciate that you're being honest, but like, I was in the Super Bowl and our game plan wasn't good enough. And I
don't think it's that dramatic.
Okay.
I mean, you said it right there, though. We're in the Super Bowl. You got us this far.
Right. There are some guys who will look at it in the big picture like that and say, hey, I'm riding with my coach. He got us. I'm not going to ignore the fact that he coached us to the Super Bowl. But you well know there's other guys who are going to look at it and say, yeah, but we didn't close the deal. And if I never get a ring, I'm going to think about that.
Okay, but you know what? That's way better than when Seattle lost, when Russell threw that slant to Ricardo Lockett. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Bevel, the offensive coordinator, was saying that Ricardo could have fought harder for the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said he could have fought harder for the slant. He has to fight in there. He has to go get it.
Yeah.
When it's like, dude, don't throw the ball on second and goal.
Well, that's why he's not there anymore.
No, he's not there right now.
Right.
No, he's interviewing right now.
Right.
No, but guys respect anyone who takes ownership for whatever it is. If you feel like you got out coached and you straight up say it,
Yeah.
you know, because what else? If you're out there saying like, well, we should have done this better.
Right.
The Lions should have done this better. Then everyone's like, well, then you should have called a better game.
Well, and the other out is, for as young as Sean McVay is, you look at it and go, okay, well, it's kind of understandable. Bill Belichick versus Sean McVay. Sean McVay was 1 year old when Bill Belichick coached in his first Super Bowl.
Right. But you know what, though? What it came down to is that all year, the Rams were really good at running the football.
Right.
And when you can run the football extremely well, then you can do whatever the hell you want offensively.
Play action is totally different.
It opens everything up.
Yeah.
You know, play action or whatever. It opens everything up. And it was the same when Sean was the offensive coordinator on the Redskins. You know, when our running game was rolling, Kirk Cousins had a hell of a game. You know, and once the game wasn't going well, you know, Kirk Cousins, he really had to make plays on his own and did struggle with that. So it came down to, you know, okay, let's take the running game away. The running game was non-existent. Let's make Goff beat us. Because I don't really think a lot of people look at Goff as somebody who can just take over a game by themselves.
Sure. And I would agree with that. But if I look at the totality of his game, he threw a couple balls that we could be in overtime. We could have gone to overtime. He made a couple throws. The ball was where it needed to be, and the catch wasn't made.
Right.
Is that fair?
That's very fair. No, because that's one thing that's going to go unnoticed, and somebody's going to say it. But those two plays Cook should have made.
Yeah.
The one in the back of the end zone that got knocked out of his hand, he could have went up and been stronger to get that football. And the same thing, the deep ball that dropped through his hands.
I will say on the first one, it took Goff an extra beat to see it.
It did. Yeah, he was 100% late. No question about it.
But it still was a makeable play.
But that's something you have to come back and get. However, that was a great play by Jason McCourty.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of working with Charlie Casserly, the former Redskins GM, and he said, did you notice how when McCourty broke up that pass, he went for the arm and not the ball? And I was like, yeah. He said, that's coaching. Because had he went for the ball and missed, Brandon Cooks would have had a chance to at least snatch the ball and move it. But the fact that he went for his arm and he raked his arm, that's coaching.
So Brian Flores right now is getting a lot of credit.
Let's go, B-Flow.
And people want to kind of recognize him and say, you know, Bill Belichick's getting a lot of praise, but Brian Flores is the guy who came up with the defensive game plan that held the Rams to 3 points. Okay, but I was hearing all about the great Matt Patricia not that long ago. And there's a common denominator, and it's Bill Belichick. So help me, and not to say that it's mutually exclusive.
I heard Patricia is a different dude. I heard a lot of his assistants are different dudes in terms of how they are as people.
Okay, so but how does that, I believe you, how does that impact, or how should I utilize that?
B-Flow is different, though. B-Flow is a leader. He's different. He's different. He's going to succeed.
And he's going to Miami now, correct?
Tomorrow he gets introduced.
Yeah.
Party tonight, he's probably on a plane right now. He's not even partying.
How good is that for Miami? Here's the thing. Because we've seen plenty of coordinators that are great coordinators. And they become head coaches, and it's not the same deal. Or in many instances, your first shot is with an organization, and I would think the Dolphins would qualify, that are not they're not run like the organizations that you were with that got you the shot. What prospects do you give Brian Flores of succeeding in Miami where so many others have failed?
It all comes down to who he brings on his staff.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing, is whoever he hires on his staff. That's all it comes down to, because you need those guys to be just as passionate as you are, to have the same mindset, to buy in, and to give their all to make sure this is a winning program for a long time. And that's what you see with the Patriots. They all talk the same. They all act the same. They all believe in the same thing. When they interviewed Devin McCourty and Jason McCourty. They interviewed Stephon Gilmore. They interviewed Van Noy.
I watched it.
And they all said the same thing.
Yeah. I watched it because I was still looking for some entertainment value out of my evening.
Oh, wow. There you go. But they all said the same thing. We're going to play man. We're going to put pressure. We're going to take away the deep throws, make them drive the ball down the field. And if we get them to drive the ball down the field, we like our chances.
Now, you don't strike me as a Maroon 5 type of guy. Although your jacket right now is a potentially Adam Levine type jacket.
You know what? I did listen to Maroon 5 my freshman year training camp. I think it was the Woman album, right? Is that what it was called? That the album, Woman?
I'm not a Maroon 5 expert by any stretch.
I listened to them a little bit back then.
Okay.
Not so much now.
Okay. Did you care any about in Atlanta, the controversy? Rihanna is not going.
I do not care about that stuff. I just feel like it should have been an all Atlanta cast.
Yeah.
There's way too much star power musically.
Atlanta is the hip. I mean, it. You could say right now it's the hip hop mecca. I mean, people think New York, they think LA, but Atlanta has a lot going on.
I mean, Ludacris would have tore that place up.
Yeah.
Outkast,
Migos,
name it. Migos.
Well, Big Boy was there, but they didn't have Andre
Big
3000.
Boy. Yeah, Big Boy. They said he said like one word and left.
Yeah, it was. And here's the other thing. Adam Levine, said he turned off the noise and decided to do it. But the most captivating thing, or maybe the captivating thing for the people that were watching with me, was the fact that he stripped all his clothes off.
Well, I'm glad I definitely didn't watch.
Yeah, it was bizarre. And I saw somebody tweet out like, okay, so Janet Jackson's the only one that gets wrapped for exposed nipples. It was, and my point being, I don't care whether you're keeping your clothes on or taking your clothes off, but give me an inspired performance. I'm not expecting Prince.
He ran out of things to do.
Well, I mean, it's the Super Bowl, and I know you're not getting paid, and maybe he's got enough other things going on that he's really not trying to push his music anymore. But then,
well, I mean, he's doing well in The Voice. That's like his main thing now.
Yeah, no, he's made a career on multiple platforms. I'm not begrudging you that. I'm just saying it's almost like the game. There's an expectation this is the Super Bowl. I'm going to see something super.
I believe you. Yeah, I went to Super Bowl 50 where they had Coldplay. I'm like, there's no way Coldplay is going to appeal this audience.
Yeah.
And then, he brought out Beyonce and Bruno Mars to help.
Right.
But it's funny because he's like, well, it's Coldplay. Yeah, they sell out everywhere else because they have their audience. But to a football crowd that's ready to like lose their mind,
right?
Like, you better bring it. Like
Beyonce.
Bruno Mars brought it when he
Beyonce,
did it,
Prince,
Michael Jackson,
not Madonna,
not The Who. Dude, they brought The Who.
Yeah. Well, see, but this is part of, and this is one of the other things I wanted to get to. And you know what? I'm going to save it for tomorrow's podcast because this is NBA oriented. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about this, but since you and I last did a podcast, the NBA dominated last week as far as the news. And a lot of it had to do with star players exercising their power, which does not exist in the NFL. And I want to get your take. I want to get your take on seeing that, whether you think it could ever be created in the NFL and what it would take. But I want to save that. I want to save that for tomorrow's podcast because we have enough to get to in this one when it comes to the Super Bowl. So, who do we credit the most for the Patriots winning Super Bowl 53? Who do you credit the most?
Belichick.
Okay. It's funny because he's deflected, like I saw every interview he did, and they tried to get him on the you told everybody you mentioned that everybody counted us out, et cetera, and in every one of them he said it's the players, and as you said, I look at this.
It is the players because the players bought in to what he's selling.
but he gave them something to buy into.
Exactly.
He gave them a game plan that was going to work. And what impresses me, and maybe you have a different view of this. Like, I look at the personnel, I look at the player to player talent of the Patriots, and I believe they're greater than the sum of their parts. I believe that what makes them special is the way they play together.
100%. But that's what it comes down to. And that's we were talking at halftime, and I was like, the main thing why they're so good is because their detail and their discipline.
Right. And that comes from coaching. No,
it comes from 100% coaching. And you stick with it, especially in a game like that. I can see where, guys can get antsy and it's like, okay, I need to make a play, and they might jump out of their gap.
Yeah.
Because they're undisciplined. Where how do you stop the stretch zone or whatever? The guys on the outside hold the edges. The guys on the inside, you go straight and penetrate through your gaps. You do that every single time. Like I said, every single guy in the Patriots said the same thing when it came down to the game plan. And it's just about detail and being disciplined, and to get every single guy buy in. Right. That's coaching. And then everyone takes care of each other. Everyone plays as a team. Right. Even Gronkowski said this is probably the biggest team win ever, because we dealt with so many adversity. We had to figure things out, and we truly did our part on all ends.
But this might capture how unique, and I think this really was the most unique Patriots team that I've seen. Julian Edelman was the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's a slot receiver.
He was cooking everybody today.
Right. But he epitomizes, I'm just going to beat you on execution. I'm not overwhelming you. I'm not going by you. I'm running routes, and I'm running really smart. I'm finding my spots, and then I'm a little quicker than you think. I'm a little tougher than you think. That to me epitomizes what these Patriots were all year long. It's why, we were constantly underselling them, undervaluing them. And they kept surprising us. And the other part, Belichick, mentioned it, but I think it was a huge part of it. He said, we're the most, we're I don't know if he said the most conditioned team, but an ideally conditioned team. And it made me think about all their games this year, and even this game today. You get down to the fourth quarter, you get down to the last drive, and they're making plays, and other guys are a step late. It seems
because they're still trusting their game plan.
Yeah.
When people ask me, they said, what is Brady's biggest attribute? What is it? And to me, it's his mental endurance.
Yeah.
You cannot break him mentally at all. He's always in it, and he's always a threat. And that trickled around the entire team.
Yeah.
And what blew my mind too is, you put Aqib on him. Aqib is tall, and I didn't say this, but Charlie Cashley said that his hips are too stiff. He can't cover him. He's too tall. His hips are too stiff. And then you put Nickel Roby on him, who's very quick and athletic, but he has bad eyes. He keeps looking at the quarterback. And if you chart it, he looks great, when he's covering, but when he's targeted, it's almost like he panics.
Huh.
And then same thing, you put Marcus Peters on him. Marcus Peters is undisciplined because he's a gambler.
Right.
And so that's a dream matchup for a slot receiver if you're running option routes, because you have three guys who can't. That's what it was crazy. I was on the network earlier this week, and I did a X and O's of me defending Julian Edelman. And every play he was in motion, but I had disciplined eyes. The only time he got me is because he ran a pick route and he caught that ball. But I had two breakups. I had one strip where he fumbled. And all the time I just got my hands on him. Not one time did they press him and put hands on him. He's not going to run by you.
Right. So here's the thing. This is what fascinates me, because I don't know if there's another sport that this could happen. He's a 7th round pick. He's a quarterback at Kent State. He caught one ball for 11 yards in college. He's Super Bowl MVP. How rare, how unique. Because I feel in some ways, it's a unique story, but it's not that unique in football that you get guys that are unheralded and can rise to a certain level. Now, is that because this is a unique Super Bowl MVP win by him? Or help me kind of connect the dots with a guy being a 7th-round pick and a quarterback at Kent State, not invited to the combine. I mean, like getting no love, and then he reaches heights like this.
Well, it's a lot of things. It's one, I tell anybody, you just got to get in. You just got to get into the NFL. You know, right? It's when you start off, that's where it's going to affect you financially. You know, first round you make millions, 7th round you don't make much. But just get in, because it's easier to get in, and it's harder to stay. There's a lot of 4.3s on the street. So he gets in the league, and he takes full advantage of all his opportunities. I mean, it came to the point where they always told me the more you can do, the more you can do. And it's very, very true. Even when I was in college, you know, when they were the announcers would talk about me, how I played both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And they always say he would fit perfectly in New England because he does everything. There was times where, Julian came in, was a receiver, was a returner, was probably like 4th on the depth chart as a quarterback, threw a pass. He even lined up as a nickel at a couple of times early in his career. He played defense. He's done everything they've always asked. He epitomizes what they stand for. It's mental toughness, it's discipline. He has such a great rapport and relationship with Brady. He understands the entire Patriot way, and he's fearless. It's funny, like Shannon Sharp said, you know, everyone looks at a small, short, white receiver, and they use gritty, tough. You know, he goes, no, people know, but Julian's dirty. He thinks Julian's a dirty player.
Deion called him a dog.
Yeah, a dog.
In a good way.
Yeah. But Shannon said he was dirty. And I'm like, no, like he's feisty. He's like 5'6" a white dude playing in the NFL. You got to fight.
Gronk might be dirtier than
Gronk
Julian
is definitely dirtier than Julian. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Julian, he has to fight with what he has. He's not running a 4.4. He's not 6'5". He's not Josh Gordon physically. Okay.
Did we just see the last great play from
Gronk?
From Gronk?
I think so.
On the catch to set up the TD?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It certainly feels that way.
Yeah.
If this had been the New Orleans Saints, how would this game have been different?
There would have been more points scored.
Yeah.
I think so.
On both sides?
Yeah.
See, there's a part of me that
because New England can play any game you want to play.
Yeah.
They knew the 2 times they played Kansas City that it was going to be a lot of points scored. So you want to play that game? We can do it. Let's go.
This is what I'm torn is I believe that the Saints would have been able to run the ball more effectively, which would have changed the dynamic. But I still feel as if Bill Belichick would have outcoached Sean Payton.
He probably would have, but the game would have been more entertaining. Yeah. I think
would expect that.
I agree that people were let down because of the expectations that they wanted from the Rams. Mm-hmm. So people were let down in terms of it being a boring game.
Well, and look, this was the whole theme of the people walking into my house. Who are you rooting for? And nobody's like had this strong
no one did.
interest.
Even I didn't.
For the most part, it was everybody's tired of the Patriots. They're tired of them winning. They wanted to see something new and different. And I have to say, I've been in that camp, but I probably have more respect for the Patriots in their winning this Super Bowl than, I can't say any of them, but I look at what Brady is. He's not anywhere close to what he was. He didn't have a great first half. They just, one more time, that combination of Belichick and his staff coming up with a game plan to neutralize what the opposition did best, and then Brady and his band of helpers do just enough to get the job done. And I can't help but admire that.
That's all it is. It's strategy. It's tactical. it's a boxing match. It's like, yeah, these guys are throwing shots all day and blocking. And it's like, okay, a great example. I remember when Pacquiao fought Juan Manuel Marquez, and Pacquiao already beat him. So the next fight, Pacquiao is destroying him the whole time. But I remember in their pre-fight interview, they were talking about Marquez has like a counter right hand that is dangerous. So he literally took a beating and was strategizing, trying to set this up. He was setting this up the whole fight. And then eventually Manny jumped in to do one of his like fast combinations, and bow, he just got caught. I thought he died. No, I'm serious.
Really?
No, he was on the floor for a good 5 minutes. Wow. Out cold. Yeah, out cold.
Wow.
And caught him strategically. So it was the same thing. It's like the Patriots took their wounds. They were getting beat up early and were struggling to find their ways, but they just slowly chipped away. Like, hey, we're not doing well on third down. I think they were like 25%. However, they had 22 first downs. Eight of them were to Julian. 8 of Julian's 10 catches were for first downs.
And there was a couple where he was wide the freak open.
They just kept chipping away, and then once they got into that fourth quarter, it was like, okay, especially because Gronk, he's been doing a heck of a job blocking. So he was blocking one play and then slipped out and caught that ball up the sideline, and then next thing you know, he caught the other ball up the seam, and then Sonny Michel took off. So slowly they chipped it away and started making their plays. Because it's not even going to be, Tom's not like, I'm going to come out and throw for 400 yards and 5 TDs. That's not what it is. It's what type of game is it going to be today? Right. That's what everyone talks about with them is every week it's a different game plan. Every single week it's a different matchup.
Tom Brady, 21 for 35, 262 yards.
And a pick.
1 pick, and he won a Super Bowl.
Exactly. The greatest quarterback of all time didn't throw a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Before we wrap this up, help me understand the use of Todd Gurley. Now, we'd been hearing that he was
not
injured.
Healthy.
Okay, but
that's it.
That's not what they said.
They don't need to say that. You know who told himself? CJ Anderson pretty much told himself. James Palmer was asking him. This kind of verified it for me, first of all. I knew he wasn't because, 1, he had an ugly knee brace in practice. 2, he's walking around with Normatec boots, which is compression boot that pushes out inflammation. Yeah. Right. And so he asked C.J. Anderson, like, James Palmer said, did you know the rep count coming in? He was like, he's like, no. He said, what I know is that Todd Gurley is going to go. He said he's going to go as much as he can. He's going to go as much as he can go. That tells you right there.
Well, here's the thing. So Gurley did end up with the most carries, only 10.
Of course he did. They were trying to get him going. He had a couple long runs, but he just wasn't himself. There's no question about it. This makes no sense that he's lighting guys up all year, and then once he gets hurt, he's not, you sign a starting running back as CJ Anderson because you're worried. You're not signing him because you need more ammo.
That's a fair.
You're signing him because you're running out of ammo.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. It's just, I made the mistake of believing them when they said he's fine.
Because everyone kind of kept playing it like he's fine, or, Sean owns up to it. I got to get him going early. It's like, it's just Todd Gurley. He can get going whenever he needs to get going. You don't got to warm him up.
Right. All right, so that does it for this episode, this Super Bowl episode of Bucher and Blackmon, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. Keep in mind, we have 2 other great podcasts on the network. Get Some by comedian actor Gary Owen, and Age Groupie by Lindsay Hyken. She's a endurance athlete, but she's also a mom. She's a realtor. If you're a weekend warrior and you do, I don't want to say extreme sports, but endurance sports, you want to check out her podcast for sure. Also, keep in mind, we have a website, bucherandfriends.com. I want to thank all of you who have already filled out the survey. But if you haven't, please go there, click on the survey link. It'll just take a couple minutes, and you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to Amazon. In tomorrow's podcast, we will get into a couple things when it comes to the NFL and the NBA and all the news last week, because I want to get Will's take on when he sees an Anthony Davis or a Kyrie Irving or stars in the NBA basically dictating where they're going to go when we never, ever see that in the NFL. And I think there are some built-in hindrances to it, but we'll discuss that along with maybe a little bit more on Gronk's future and what we have to look forward to in the offseason. In the meantime, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.